And good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Outspoken here on a Sunday. I'm your boy, Dan Sileo, for Championship Sunday. Legacies are made here, resumes are made here, and icons come out of a weekend like this. What an absolutely sensational time. By the way, our good friends up in the Northeast right now, you want to sit back and watch the show here. I know you're all bundled up there. Weather is going to keep you in the home here. What a great place to be with us here on this Championship Sunday, and we so appreciate that. What an absolutely special show we have lined up for you. And also, you're going to go around these championship games. We're going to start off in the AFC Championship game. There's no question. This game here, Patriots travel to Denver. This game is going to be, without a doubt, the Jarrett Stidham game. Jarrett Stidham is going to be the guy that's going to be the focal point of this conversation here today in this championship game. This guy hasn't thrown a pass in, 2 years? He's being asked to go in as a substitute teacher to go into this ball game to carry the load to try to get you to Santa Clara in Super Bowl 60. He's going to be a guy that's going to be under the direction of, obviously, a Sean Payton. Sean Payton was brought in to Denver, as we said yesterday, to have answers for games like this. Look, they lose Bo Nix. Second to the last play of the game in the divisional round. Now you have to rely on a backup. We've seen this before in NFL history, where backups have come into games and gone on and punched the ticket for that respective team to go into a Super Bowl. No question about it. On the other side, Drake Maye. I mean, this is a brand new league. We're coming out of the Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady era, right? And now maybe we're diving into a new era here with all these young quarterbacks that we're seeing in the National Football League. Drake Maye has had a special season this year under the direction of Josh McDaniels. The offensive coordinator was brought in by Mike Vrabel. One of the most important hires that Vrabel had was bringing in Josh McDaniels and bringing him back to New England. I said this the other day. You know, if you close your eyes and you open them, you see some skill set. Now, I'm not saying he has the resume of Tom Brady yet, but are we seeing something special here starting to form? Are we potentially looking at a guy who could start another dynasty run in New England? Is this the guy? You know, I've said this before to you about Bob Kraft, the owner of that franchise. This guy has done a marvelous job at putting football people in position when it comes to allowing them and empowering them to make that franchise what it is. You went to a Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe and Bill Parcells. You went to Super Bowls, obviously, with Tom Brady and with Bill Belichick. And here you are on the threshold, potentially, of getting to another one. You got to say it. Bob Kraft, he's up for the Hall of Fame this year, too. I mean, how is this guy not in Pro Football's Hall of Fame? Truly one of the greatest owners that we've seen in all of pro football in the history of the league. And then you've got Courtland Sutton. You know, I saw this guy earlier in the year against the Philadelphia Eagles. I really didn't know a lot about him. He's turning out to be more of a Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice type player, a possession guy, not phenomenal speed, but I'll tell you what he does well. He does a spectacular job at getting open, handling the physicality of some of the defensive backs, and he's a physical wide receiver. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how many times they try to get the football to him because, you know, don't take it to anything where you're looking at that Patriots defense. You saw them last week against the Texans. That's a very underrated group. So you go on the other side. I mean, these two defenses are going to be the storylines in this ball game here. Okay? Denver, obviously, one of the best groups there is in the NFL. The Patriots, you know, they had Milton Williams from the Eagles. They bring him in. Mike Vrabel is running that Patriots defense. You look at that and make no mistake about it. These two units are going to be the units that are going to have to really carry the mail for this game today. This is going to be a close one. I think this is going to be a well-coached football game. Mike Vrabel on one side, Sean Payton on the other side. As I said, you bring Payton in for games like this when you need answers, and you have to have him in this ballgame, and I think he's one of the best play callers in all the National Football League. On the other side with Mike Vrabel, man, I love this guy. I just do. I think this guy, he embodies toughness. He embodies the way you want to see a defense and a football roster look. They play with aggression. They play without a doubt, they have that sense of urgency. I just absolutely love what Mike Vrabel has instilled. You know, people say this all the time. Football teams take on the personalities of their head coach. You tell me the New England Patriots haven't taken on the personality of their head football coach? I mean, it totally has. I thought they beat up. I thought they knocked around C.J. Stroud in that divisional round. They just played with great tenacity, a sense of urgency. And I said this to my friends in South Florida with Cam Ward. And how is Mike Vrabel not the head football coach of the Tennessee Titans? I mean, who made that dumb decision that you thought you'd fire him? And in the light of getting rid of A.J. Brown and Derek, who thought that was smart? This is why the Titans are picking at the top of the draft every year. All right, over the NFC side, this is going to be a barn burner. One of the toughest places to play in all of pro football is in Seattle. I mean, you're going into that place. The fans are going to be off the charts. Seattle, what can you say? Their defense has got to be the storyline in this ball game as well. Their defense is spectacular. I think that the way that they've put that football team together defensively, I think that John Schneider, their general manager, comes out of the era of Pete Carroll, and look what he's done with this defense. Look at the personnel that they've added to the football team. Then, of course, you had the Sam Darnold story. I mean, the Sam Darnold story is insane. Sam Darnold, without a doubt, I mean, this guy was seeing ghosts in New York. Every Jet fan has to be going, that was our guy? That was our guy? How about a guy right now who's on the threshold of his 30th ball game? 30th ball game in 2 years. I mean, it's an insane story in what he's done. I mean, tremendous stuff. Then Stafford on the other side. Here was a guy that was dying in Detroit. Nobody knew what to do with him. He didn't really have a 1,000-yard rusher up there. He did have Megatron up there in Detroit. But at the end of the day, man, this guy was 0-4 in the playoffs. He wasn't getting it done. The organization was wobbling. And what did Sean McVay do? Sean McVay makes a trade for a guy. Think about this. They make a trade for a guy that, quite frankly, put you in the Super Bowl. Jared Goff put him in the Super Bowl. Makes a trade unbelievable. How about Puka Nacua? You find this guy in the 5th round out of BYU. You had Cooper Kupp on the football team, and everyone was like, you're trading Cooper Kupp? Who's Puka Nacua? This guy's turned out to be the best wide receiver in all of pro football. You talk about a guy that is a possession wideout, can find the open spot. I mean, he's great in space. What a tremendous football player Puka Nacua is. I mean, did I think he was going to be this dude? Absolutely not. But when you're in that offense with Sean McVay, look at what Sean McVay has even done with Davante Adams. They bring Davante Adams in, and all of a sudden now you got one of the most prolific passing games in all of pro football, one of the best scoring offenses in all of pro football with that Rams team. Make no mistake about it, this is going to be a fabulous football game. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan with over $20 billion recovered for clients. It's the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason, folks. Okay? There was a family down in Florida who was initially offered $350,000. Morgan & Morgan and their team of attorneys went in and got $12 million. Simple as that. Easiest decision you'll ever make in your life. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. We will talk with our friend Adam Kaplan, and we will talk first about the AFC Championship game. This game here, again, it's the Jarrett Stidham game, right? We'll talk to Adam next. You keep it right here on Sports Grid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser, A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on Sports Grid.
There's nothing like Championship Sunday in pro football, but there's other storylines that have been going on this week in the National Football League. And I've been saying this before we get to the AFC title game. Adam Kaplan, who follows and obviously lives in the Philadelphia area, and I got to ask you right out of the gate here, why doesn't anybody want this OC job? I mean, Adam, there's so many guardrails. I say the quarterback, and I also say that Nick Sirianni. And plus, look at the landscape on what they've done. What has it been? 7 coordinators in 6 years, counting Nick Sirianni, since Jalen Hurts has been a starter in 2021. I mean, your takeaways on what and how come that job is so, I guess, hands off right now by some of the top candidates.
Yeah, so here's my understanding, Dan, on this situation with Philly and the offensive coordinator job, which still has not been filled, which is kind of rare because their season ended very early with the playoff loss against the Niners. So you got to look at also, Dan, their offensive line, right, which was elite in 24 on their way to winning a Super Bowl. Jordan Mailata took a step back, wasn't as good, okay? Left guard Landon Dickerson was coming off multiple surgeries, clearly not himself. Cam Jurgens, who should not have made the Pro Bowl, let's be honest about it. He just did not have a good season, very disappointing season. The right guard didn't play well. And Lane Johnson, just physically, he wasn't there. He had the Lisfranc sprain. He wasn't ready for the playoff game. And you wonder what his status is going to be. He's under contract, but he's got to make a decision whether he's going to play or not. And then you look at it. You look also at the receiver position with A.J. Brown, who could realistically be traded. So, Dan, if you're interviewing with the Eagles, you want to know, okay, is A.J. Brown going to be here or not? Okay, what are you going to do with Dallas Goedert? We know his contract's up. He just turned 31. What's our future at the tight end position if I take this job? There are a lot of questions, and you mentioned the biggest one, and Jalen Hurts. Can you – and here's the thing with Hurts. Are you really going to bring in a young OC? We know they've looked at veteran guys, younger guys. He's got a strong personality. He's not easy to coach. Are you able to find someone who could get him back to being a Super Bowl winning quarterback? These are a lot of questions, Dan, as you go through it. Now you know why that they have not filled it yet.
Do you agree also, too, Adam, that one of the reasons that it's so hard to get a read on Hurts is because he stopped running? I mean, after the 2022 season, he was dual threat. Well, if that guy's going to be a pocket passer, I've said this before about him, he's limited. He's not a guy that's going to be a progression reader. He struggled with it. If you look at his pre-draft stuff, that was one of the things that he did with reading really complex defenses. Is that one of the things, too, that you really have to ask yourself if you're an OC? What quarterback and what version am I getting?
Well, no, and that's the thing. It's like it also limits you if you don't think you'd be a drop back passer at least some of the time. Like we saw late in the season, starting with a Charger game, he showed some progress. But overall, that's not been his game. You're absolutely right. And there are questions about why was he not the dual threat quarterback this past season? Because when you have to, and you've seen it with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, a lot of the running quarterbacks, it is really hard to prepare for a guy. You don't know if he's going to throw to run it. That's another thing. I mean, you stack up all these reasons, Dan, like the top 10 reasons why the Eagles are not landing the guy that they wanted offense coordinator. We just gave him to you.
Do you believe that A.J. Brown will be traded in the offseason? And I got to tell you, too, Adam, you're around this team, too. All the things that he said during the regular season about the offense, he was right. It's not like he was out there just, I get it. Maybe that's not the forum and the place for you to be sitting there, going after the offense and going after the offensive coordinator, the former offensive coordinator, Kevin Petula. But at the end of the day here, man, I mean, AJ wasn't wrong, was he?
Well, to answer your question, and yes, and he's been critical really the last 2 seasons, even during the Super Bowl season. And why isn't he getting the ball? Why isn't he getting on time? But when you look at Brown's future, I'd be very surprised if he remains an Eagle. I understand he's under contract, and they couldn't trade him until mid-March once the free agent window opens and trading opens. But I just it's going to be hard to keep him. He's not happy. It's been very clear for a long time he's not happy, and it's just not working with him and Jalen Hurts. It just hasn't. Now, and again, before we move on here, if you're a coordinator, how in the world if you want this job, you got Devontae Smith who's a stud, Saquon Barkley still an excellent running back. Where are your pass targets? That's a big question for these coordinators we're interviewing.
Absolutely. Let's pivot into the AFC title game. Jarrett Stidham game, isn't it? In this AFC title game, all's going to come down to him.
Yeah, 2019 4th-round pick for the Patriots, drafted by Bill Belichick. This is what I'm told by a scouting source. You like the size, pretty smart kid, can move around enough, but he's got accuracy issues. And the thing that is a problem is, because he hasn't started a game in nearly 3 years, yes, he got the ones this week. He took all the first team reps in practice, but that's 3 practices, Dan, and a walkthrough. You worry about the timing. Now, Denver, though, their defense is elite. You don't want him dropping back a lot, obviously. If you can limit his pass attempts under 30, that'll probably tell you where this game is going. If it's 25 or less, they're probably going to win this game. If it's 35 pass attempts or more, they're in major trouble.
On the other side, we got about a minute here on the AFC title game here. Do you think that the Patriots defense has been underrated going into the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because it's funny. We've talked to the Patriots. I think they would tell you that, they don't want to say they overachieved, but the team is probably ahead of schedule. I think it's probably the best way to look at it. Milt Williams coming over from Philly. Pressure rate has been fantastic. Not a big sack guy. Christian Gonzalez is one of the best corners in the league. I actually voted for him to be an All-Pro, or what we call one of the best corners in the National Football League for Pro Football Writers Association. Yeah, by the way, for the record, I do like the Patriots to win this game. I am surprised, Dan, that the number dropped from 5.5 to 3.5. Patriots still a favorite.
I know, it's incredible to sit there, and I saw the number too, and I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, this quarterback hasn't thrown pass in a couple of years, and the number ends up going down. I mean, obviously too, and I love Drake Maye. Drake Maye, spectacular, no?
He has been way better than probably people thought coming to that draft 2 years ago. He had accuracy issues, processing issues. Remind me a little bit of Josh Allen, wild thrower, very athletic, big arm, big good size. But Josh McDaniels, my vote for Assistant Coach of the Year for Pro Football Writers Association, our awards. Josh McDaniels, what an absolute great job he's done. Not a good head coach, but an outstanding coordinator and coach of quarterbacks.
I completely agree with you. I get pushback a lot when I say that I think he's the best offensive coordinator in pro football. I mean, you blink your eyes and there's Tom Brady, it looks like, with Drake Maye. All right, we got Adam Kaplan for another segment. We're going to talk NFC Championship game next, right here on
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. I say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on Sports Grid.
NFC Championship game could be really a prelude to what could be the champion of the Super Bowl this season. And make no mistake about it, going to Seattle is one of the toughest places to play. Going to Denver is one of the tougher places to play. Adam Kaplan joins us here for the NFC Championship game. Adam, how do you see this game breaking out here? This is really going to be potentially the winner of this game. It's got to be your favorite going into Super Bowl 60.
They would be either team. So you know what's interesting, Dan, about Seattle? They're the best road team in the National Football League over the last 2 seasons. When you think Seattle, think about the 12s, right? But no, they've been the best road team. Oh, at home, look, you're right. It's the toughest place to play. It's really loud there. It's a very unique stadium, very unique configuration. But I want to pick up on something you talked about before I was on. So Puka Nacua, right? Puka Nacua, this is just going inside football. I know you played and talking to coaches about this and scouting people. Puka Nacua, first of all, he had a big injury history coming out of school. And he, 6'1.5-ish. Is he an X receiver? Do you play him inside? But this is what one of the former Rams coaches told me. When they got Puka Nacua specifically, obviously, Sean McVay, because it's his offense as the head coach and he calls the plays and it's his scheme. He decided, you know what? I'm going to reduce him. He's not going to be a true outside receiver. I'm going to move him inside. It is really, really, as one coach told me, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to double an inside receiver. And that's why he wins. You don't find guys who play inside that big. He's got an interesting configuration. He's put together very, very well. He wins seemingly all the time, Dan, and he's great. But I'll just say this: he would not be nearly as good without him playing without them playing him the way that they do. I thought it was a really interesting point you made about Nacua. And fine, look, if you look at the prop numbers, the passing game doesn't go through Devontae Adams; it goes through Puka. How he goes is how their offense most likely will go.
It's Sean McVay, isn't it, in the way that he's constructed that offense to put the personnel in the right position. I mean, look at Devontae Adams. I mean, not a lot of targets this year, but the guys, he ended up leading the NFL and missed some weeks in touchdown catches. I mean, look at his resume. Yesterday was his 40th birthday, Adam. This guy's now going for his 3rd NFC Championship game, his 11th playoff game. You got to go back to Curly Lambeau and George Halas for a guy that's won that amount of ball games at an early age. I mean, he's 40 years old. Phillip Rivers was 44 years old playing. Matthew Stafford's 37. How crazy is that number that this guy's this great putting his resume up?
Rodgers is 42. Joe Flacco's 40. I got to give you a quick story about Sean McVay. So when he became the Rams head coach, okay, and Jay Gruden was the one who he worked for in Washington. He had not turned 31 until after he signed his contract. People were like, why are you hiring this guy? And look, Jeff Fisher was fired, but why are you hiring this guy? He's too young. No one can in the NFL could win at that age. And he got the last laugh. And I just remember them bringing him, I think it was after his first season, they brought, or it may have been after he signed his contract, they brought him to Radio Row at the Super Bowl. No one really knew who he was because, he's a shorter guy, like 5'8", 5'9". Yeah. He was just inconspicuous. And you're like, who is this guy? And now he's elite, obviously, and he might go in the Hall of Fame someday. I give Kevin Demoff and Stan Kroenke credit for hiring him. I'll admit it. I was like, this is crazy. 31 years old. And by the way, Grant Udinsky from Doylestown, PA, near where I grew up, who's going to turn 31, who's the Jaguars offense coordinator. He's got a real shot to be the Browns head coach. 31 years old.
I met Sean McVay when he was a ball boy for the Bucs. I mean, he was a ball boy. Then he became a quality control guy. And how he got the job, too, Adam, was that initially Kroenke wanted John Gruden. But he goes, I got to recommend this guy to you here, and Sean McVay. It's been an incredible story on how this guy has risen through the ranks. And, he was in that Shanahan tree in Washington, but it's just been insane what he's done there with this offense. I mean, tremendous. And the way they built the team with Kevin Demoff and Les Snead, as you said.
Les Snead, one of the most underrated GMs in the National Football League. They draft well. And you know what they have to do? Sometimes because they're tight against the cap, they just decide, you know what? We're going to go light in free agency. We're going to have to go through the draft, and they draft well. They draft and develop well. That's the secret sauce. People talk about the Stafford trade, which obviously worked out for the Lions and the Rams. You mentioned Devontae Adams. You mentioned Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp for the time that he was there as a third rounder in 2017, who I saw at that Senior Bowl. Now he's on the opposite side. How about that to this with the Seahawks? But he's not the guy. JSN is the guy. I am kind of surprised at how good he is, but he is an absolute superstar who also plays mostly inside.
Absolutely. Adam, you need to stay inside too here today a little bit here with all the weather going up there in the Philly area and in the New England area there too. So I appreciate your brother doing this.
Got it, man. No problem.
You got it. Adam Kaplan there. We're going to talk with Brady Cannon next. We'll do a little football and we'll do a little golf right here on Sports Grid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Just the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on Sports Grid.
And without a doubt, the NFC and AFC Championship Sunday is one of the absolutely best Sundays in all of pro football and all of sports, by the way. And we appreciate Brady Cannon joining us here. Let's start over in the AFC side here. It's the Jarrett Stidham game, right? I mean, Jarrett Stidham, how well he plays in this ball game is really going to tell us really maybe early on, right, Brady, on how we're going to look at this whole scenario here.
Yeah, I would say so. We'll probably get an indication pretty quickly whether the Jarrett Stidham game will be a positive, memory, or the Jarrett Stidham game will be very much a negative memory, for Broncos backers. But I think it sets up really well, Dan, for the Denver side. We were talking about it last night, Adam Kaufman and myself. If the Patriots win, or let's say if the Broncos win today and go to the Super Bowl, I don't necessarily like their chances in the Super Bowl. But today, I do like their chances because it's set up really nicely. Jarrett Stidham has the best possible scenario you could ask for an unfortunate circumstance where Bo Nix, of course, hurts his ankle and is out for the rest of the year. He's at home. He's got a crowd that is going to be absolutely bonkers. He's got a team now that is going to have to rally the troops. They know, as a former player, when your star goes down, it puts everybody on notice. Okay, guys, we got to bring it up a level because we got to fill the void here. I think he's going to have every possible scenario available to succeed. He's got a great coach who I think can design a perfect game plan to just help him manage things, not get out of his element. And if he just plays average or above average slightly, doesn't turn the ball over, I think the rest of the team, the offensive line, the defense, they're the ones that win this game for Jarrett Stidham.
Don't you agree that this is one of the reasons why Denver brought Sean Payton to Denver? He is a problem solver. He was a problem solver when he had quarterbacks go down in New Orleans. I had question marks on him when he took this job. What is he going to look like without Drew Brees? Well, look what he's done here. That franchise was on a respirator. When he took it over, they were in the era of the Russell Wilson, which was going nowhere. They were in the middle of transition from the Bolin family to the new ownership group. And he goes in there. I mean, remember the salary cap hell that they were in as well. This guy's transformed that franchise. I mean, this is really going to be a statement potentially also for Sean Payton in this ball game.
Really like overnight, right, Dan? I mean, it didn't even take him long. And here he is on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. And you're right. I mean, he was so underneath it with the Russell Wilson situation. And boy, he flipped this thing around in a hurry. And, I think that kind of gives you confidence in Jarrett Stidham too, because he wanted Bo Nix and look what he's done there. And that's what we've heard all week, is he wanted Jarrett Stidham as his backup. So you got to feel the track record shows that he's pretty good about getting the guys he wants and doing well with them. The concern, I believe, is probably the defense, which has slipped in the last 6 weeks or so. And you saw him, give up 30 points to the Buffalo Bills. I think this situation is great because now the defense knows that they better get their act together and start playing like they did at the beginning of the year versus what they've done for the last handful of weeks. Because if they give up 30 points, they're going to lose. I feel like it's really, the line movement is pretty incredible in this game. I mean, it opened as high as 6, and now we're down to 3.5, and it's a weak 3.5. There's juice on the Denver Broncos at 3.5. And I kind of understand that. When I crunch my numbers, I come to Denver as a favorite by 4.5. Now, that doesn't include the adjustment for Stidham, but how much of an adjustment is there? Out here in Las Vegas, I know that the general consensus feeling as far as an adjustment for Stidham versus Nix is about 4 points. So that means New England should be about a 2-point favorite. So is the line still even off a little bit? No matter what happens, who wins this game, Dan, I think it's going to be by a field goal either way.
Shows you what great leadership and great ownership can do for you, too, because you look at the other side. Here's Mike Vrabel, and here's Bob Kraft with another team in an AFC Championship game, coming off the heels of one of the greatest dynasties of all time. That's a shocker. A couple of years ago, if you told me these two teams in the shape that they were in would be playing in an AFC title game, how insane is that? I mean, the job that Vrabel has done has been remarkable on the New England side.
I'm wondering where the Raiders find one of these turnarounds. I'm here in Las Vegas going, come on, it's that easy. You hire Mike Vrabel, next thing you know, you're in the champion. No, it's awesome, man. And, I think a lot of times we see that initial bump. We saw it with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and the Washington Commanders. The Panthers this year had a great season. So you do you know how it is. You get that kind of worst to first, what goes up must come down. You do get a very seesaw type phenomenon in the NFL quite often. But boy, my poor Raiders out here in Las Vegas, I'm hoping they find that formula soon.
Let's go over to the NFC Championship game here. And I've been saying that there's Joe Namath 2.0. And I say that in light of all the Jet fans in New York watching Sam Darnold and what he's doing. I mean, Brady, think of this. This guy's going for his 30th win in 2 years with 2 different ball teams. What an amazing renaissance, rising from the ashes, so to speak, for Sam Darnold. How surprised are you with this story?
You're right. I mean, it really is great. And, I don't know. We've kind of seen it develop over time. You remember, his last few, I want to say it was a month or so with the Carolina Panthers. He started to look pretty good. And then Kyle Shanahan brought him into San Francisco. And as a backup there, he looked pretty good. And then he went to Minnesota. Great situation there with Kevin O'Connell. And he was a star. And yeah, I mean, maybe the Jets were correct way back when they drafted this guy so high, that he really did have this talent. But he's finally getting the coaching and the environment where I think he can very much succeed. And, a lot of people are nervous about what we saw last year, where he really just lost it in the last couple of games, the last regular season game, the playoff game, whatever it was, where, he just did a complete 180. I don't really see it happening. Is he going to turn the ball over 4 times today? I doubt it. Might he throw 1 interception? Yeah, he might. Matthew Stafford might throw 1, but I don't think it's going to be a disaster. I think you're going to get an incredibly competitive game here. It's interesting. Again, Dan, because these opponents are so familiar with one another. I think that benefits Sean McVay off of a couple of, less than perfect games. Didn't have his A game in Carolina, didn't have his A game last week in Chicago. And so he knows he's got to get his act together. He's really got to bounce back and get back to playing Ram football that we saw for most of the season and that we haven't seen for the last couple weeks or so. And who better to make that turnaround than an opponent that like the back of your hand? And let's remember, this vaunted Seattle defense, McVay put up over 500 yards of offense on them last time. So I think the situation is pretty good for the Rams, who I have believed are the better team all along. But to your point about Darnold, what a great, change in career for this young man, right? It looked like it was going to be a disaster. Now he's become a hero and a wealthy man.
Absolutely. I mean, the storyline is just insane. I mean, like you said, this guy was playing scout team defensive end with Baker Mayfield in Carolina, and they were giving looks. He ends up going to San Francisco, and I remember Kyle Shanahan even saying, this guy can play. He ends up going to Minnesota, and he wins 14 games there. Then he turns around and goes to Seattle. He wins another 14 games, and here he is on the cusp of potentially winning his 30th game and punching his ticket and going in to the Super Bowl. It's an absolutely incredible mark in what he's done there with that Seattle team. And I think this is going to be, like you said, this is going to be a barn burner of a ball game. So we're also going to do this. We're going to drop a putt with you in the next segment here. We're going to talk a little golf and the American Express. By the way, Brooks Koepka, I mean, what's the impact going to be there with him coming back to the PGA Tour? No
Next
question.
week.
I'll ask him
Next
also.
week.
Yes, I can't wait to see that. Also, too, will Tiger end up being able to play in April's Masters? We'll do all that next. Keep him right here on Sports Grid.
I know you did it. Talk.
I'm innocent. Got the wrong guy. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Okay, it was me. I did it.
Bringing an owl to an interrogation? That's a power move.
Every time. Yeah.
Hiring America's largest injury law firm for your injury? That's also a power move. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
57% chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scottie Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scottie's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week in the majors, the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scottie Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on Sports Grid.
Meanwhile, Charlie Baker of the NCAA has planted his flag. He wants to see the end of prediction markets, and of course is a little bit nervous with all of the different stories that we've heard surrounding sports betting allegations of some folks being corrupt out there and maybe some point shaving. It does make some sense here. I just wonder which of the sports betting operators are going to stand with the NCAA.
Newswire. Only on Sports Grid.
Basically my co-host on Game Time Decisions, Josh Doan, is featured so much. And I also want to say this basically now confirms we are the premier Josh Doan network in all of sports media. No way no other show mentions Josh Doan as much as this one. Is that a success? Is that a failure? I don't know, but I think it's true.
Game Time Decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
PGA Tour is going to be a more exciting year this year, I believe, with all the stuff going on with LIV and PGA. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens, especially when we get to April and we get to Augusta National. But the American Express is going on right now, Brady, and let me get the name right. Blades Brown. I mean, this guy sounds like somebody out of a monster movie here. He's teamed up with Scottie Scheffler going into the final pairing. I mean, tell me a little bit more about him. I know who Scottie Scheffler is, but tell me who Blades Brown is.
Yeah, a monster indeed. An 18-year-old monster who shot a 60 on Friday. Really remarkable story. This guy debuted as a professional at the American Express last season as a 17-year-old. He missed the cut. He was playing on the Corn Ferry Tour earlier in the week in the Bahamas, took a 6-hour flight, private jet, into La Quinta, California, arrives on Thursday, shoots a 67, backs it up with a 60 on Friday, and then off of, such a low round on Friday, came back pretty admirably on Saturday as well. I think it was a 4-under round for him on Saturday, and here he is, finds himself, like you say, in the final pairing with Scottie Scheffler, the world number one in the world, and also, let's not forget Siwoo Kim, who's a guy that a lot of people really like to win this tournament, who also, let's not forget, is in the lead by a shot over Scheffler and Brown. But 18 years old, I saw the interview with him after the round, and he had a chance to shoot 59, and he said, yeah, the nerves got to me a little bit. I started thinking about it. But he goes, I'm so happy to have shot 60 on the PGA Tour, and who knows, maybe we got the next Scottie Scheffler brewing here. But, the American Express, Dan, is probably one of my least favorite tournaments on tour. It's a pro-am. There's a bunch of different golf courses. We're kind of on the precipice of really getting into big boy golf at Torrey Pines and Pebble Beach and Phoenix and Riviera. And this is a little bit of a warm-up for me. But now we got a storyline here with Blades Brown, making it very entertaining.
I want to go to Scottie Scheffler. We haven't seen a year like we did a year ago. Byron Nelson, obviously, Jack, Gary Player. Now you go into what Tiger did when he had the Tiger Slam. I mean, have you seen a guy that has been able to just dominate? I mean, I see him in the top 5 almost every single tournament. I mean, you put him in that category, don't you? I mean, Byron Nelson had one of the greatest years back in the day when he won all those championships. I think there were 11 of them that he won one season. You tell me. I mean, this is truly one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen was 2025. Do you expect the same in 26?
What's to tell me I should say no? I mean, it's just absolutely remarkable. A friend, Justin Ray on Twitter, mentioned, I believe if Scottie goes on to win today, I think it'll be his 20th victory and three out of the 4 majors. And guess who are the only other 2 guys to do that by this age? Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. I mean, every time you turn around on who's done what he's done before, it's Jack and Tiger. So he's in that conversation. He is apparently at that level. Now he's got to do it for another 10 or 12, 15 years to kind of, be truly anointed in that same company. But he's absolutely on that trajectory. And the other thing, Dan, is he's so likable. He just feels like a normal guy, and I really love him. He is. Sometimes it's a little bit boring because all he does is hit greens and hit fairway. He hardly ever makes a mistake. But, I think he's really starting to become much more engaged and open up a little bit and show some personality and really become a likable figure. Tiger, Jack, Jack was like kind of the anti-Arnold Palmer, and Tiger came out with some swagger and some attitude, and he didn't necessarily, I mean, it was kind of love or hate with Tiger, and same with Jack. And now everybody, of course, appreciates them years later. But I think Scottie has never really had much enemy. He's really kind of been a crowd favorite ever since he took the golf world by storm. I don't necessarily love his chances today. His irons haven't been firing. I think Siwoo could be the play. He's really probably playing the best out of the guys at the top of the leaderboard is Siwoo Kim, and he starts with a 1-shot advantage as well. If I had to bet today, I've got JT Poston to start the week at 100-1. So I'm hoping he goes really low. Maybe he's got a 63 in his bag or something like that. But if I had to choose between Scottie and Blades Brown and Siwoo, I'd probably lean on Siwoo to get it home today.
Are you happy to see Brooks Koepka back on the PGA Tour, obviously coming back from LIV? The impact that you think he makes on the PGA Tour, paid a significant fine to come back to the tour. Are you glad to see him back?
I'm thrilled. I think it's outstanding. And I'm not necessarily anti-LIV, that they can have their own tour, but I'd love to see about 4 or 5 guys from that circuit come on back over. John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, Joaquin Niemann, let's get some of the guys and the Graham McDowells and the Lee Westwoods and the Phil Mickelsons. You guys can go have your tour, and that's fine. We don't necessarily care about those guys anymore on the PGA Tour. But I love, and Koepka might be the first domino. Bryson DeChambeau, of course, maybe one of the next biggest pieces that we'll see if he's going to come back or do YouTube or whatever he's going to do. But I don't want it to necessarily be the undoing of LIV. I mean, the more golf leagues, the better. That's fine. It's good for the game. That's the motto of LIV, right? Good for the game. Well, yeah whatever. But no, I'm thrilled that Koepka's back. I hope Rahm and DeChambeau are next. I think the punishment was extremely fair. It is certainly punitive. He can handle it because he just got your money by LIV. But I think it works, and I think the PGA Tour was smart to act quickly and get him back in camp as soon as possible. He's qualified for the majors for the next few years because he won the PGA not too long ago. But now, he'll ease his way back into all the signature events. And next week at Torrey Pines with Brooks, I guarantee you he's going to take a lot of action. A lot of people will be betting, I'm sure, that Brooks is going to get it done next week. I don't know. That might be a little too soon, but sure is going to be fun to have him back.
38 seconds here. Do we see Tiger Woods back at Augusta National? Thursdays and Fridays, there's nothing like when Tiger's taking the loops there at Augusta National. Do you think we see him?
Dan, I'll tell you what, unfortunately, I think is the favorite. I would say the no might be about minus 135, maybe minus 150.
Wow.
I think there's a better, he's just so banged up. And it's sad. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like it's a better chance that he's not there due to injury rather than being healthy enough to figure he can try and play 4 rounds of golf.
I appreciate you so much, Brady. Thank you so much, man. We'll see what happens here at the American Express. Sileo says, I'll tell you what that is next, right here on Sports Grid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. But did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on Sports Grid.
I have to go down this lane here with what's going on in college football. I learned one thing this past Monday. Watching Curt Cignetti, the head football coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, in what he's done the last 2 years at IU. This guy has taken a football program that was one of the worst programs in the history of college football, and he has elevated into a 16-0 national championship football program. The future is so bright. It is amazing on what he's done in Bloomington. I've told you this before. Nobody goes to Indiana. What you did was you scheduled Indiana for homecoming so you could wax that football team so that you could have yourself a good homecoming. Well, let me take you to Boulder, Colorado, where Deion Sanders in his time, in his 3 years at Colorado, is 16-21. Let me get it right. 19-18 in conference play, 2 different conferences, obviously. Is this really about clicks? Is this more about really non-football related issues when it comes to building a football program? Hey, Deion, you got to get off your ass and leave Boulder and recruit kids and knock on doors. You got to go find players, not just that are somebody else's leftovers, and sitting on your ass in Boulder and not going out and doing the hard work. Being Deion Sanders means nothing to a kid. He just lost one of his 5-star recruits, his offensive tackle. He ended up transferring to LSU because you know why? That guy wants to play for a coach in Lane Kiffin and a football program that's centric on football and not so much in the social media. Listen, I'm friends with Ice Cube. I love Ice Cube, and I love rappers. But that's not what this is about. You got to win ball games, man. Having your kid's number retired, being 1 game over 500, getting crushed in a bowl game by BYU. Dude, what are you doing in Colorado? Look at what Curt Cignetti's done in 2 years by going there and doing the heavy lifting, building a football program. You guys are a champion. If you're Colorado and you're the athletic department, and you're the president of the school, you're looking over at Curt Cignetti and what he's done coming from James Madison going, how come that's not happening here? The reason it's not happening there is because Deion's not a good Power 5 coach. You know, you actually have people believing that guy might be the Cleveland Browns' next head football coach because you have Jimmy Haslam, who's a weak owner, that may end up bringing him in to coach his kid? That's why the Browns suck, because they have poor leadership. Everybody knows behind the scenes. It was Deion that called Jimmy Haslam. Kevin Stefanski didn't want that dude on his football team. They had gotten and drafted Dylan Gabriel a round earlier. To me, Deion Sanders right now at Colorado is all show and no context. 16-21. Does anybody really see the Colorado Buffaloes in the next couple of years playing and being a team that would be considered for the 12-team tournament? Absolutely not. Dude, you got to get off your ass. Sitting back behind your desk and thinking that kids want to come. Now, listen, the Travis Hunters of the world, it's truly one of the greatest stories of all time. He told Travis Hunter, one of the greatest recruits in the history of the state of Florida, you come here, kid, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to carve out the yellow brick road for you, and I'm going to show you exactly what it takes to get the Heisman and to be a top pick in the NFL draft. There's no doubt. But, dude, when it comes to winning, you're 16-21. Curt Cignetti took over a program that was a doormat. Take a look at their win percentage. It's down in the 400s. I mean, Deion, hey, look, man, you were a hell of a football player. You did some really great stuff. But as a football coach, I've yet to see it, man. What have you won? I mean, to win the court of public opinion, to tell everybody, people were saying, people like Skip Bayless were saying, this guy's going to win a national championship at Colorado. No, he's not. The guy in Bloomington. Now, look, those are needles in a haystack, finding guys like Curt Cignetti. Those guys are incredible. It's an incredible job. You turn and you look in Boulder, Colorado, and you go, where are you going, dude? I mean, and everyone in the media falls in love with him. And then the press conferences. Come on, Deion. You got to turn Colorado around. Because at the end of the day, guess what? Your record is, as Bill Parcells would say, is actually who you are and what your program is. So, got to start winning there, man. All right. We are going to talk with the legendary Philly Godfather at the top of hour number 2. You keep it right here on a Sunday on Sports
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on Sports Grid.